Hi guys, this is James Nielsen, a technical and professional writing instructor. Today we're going to talk briefly about group work. So we've all finished our job application packages. Now we are transitioning into a phase of our class focused around group projects with these three major assignments over the next couple of weeks leading up to fall break. Group work is well, you have a chapter on group projects right here, chapter 4 of technical communication. Highly recommend you reading through this. The reason why we have group work as part of this class, because a lot of you might be groaning and think, you don't like group projects, but there are a couple of important reasons why group projects, we're using group projects in this class. One of which is because you're going to be doing collaborative work the rest of your life. If you're an engineer, if you're not an engineer, you're going to be working collaboratively with people forever. Even my job now, I'm a technical writing course lead, and so I'm working with new technical writing instructors, but I'm also working with people above me, like my boss, and I teach writing for digital media, which has its own course lead, and so I'm working with him. And I have multiple meetings every week where we work collaboratively on building rubrics and assignment guidelines and things like that. Okay, so group work is just it's used pervasively throughout the world. I think a couple of the reasons why we don't like group work is, one, is it seems unfair sometimes, and two, it's difficult to interact with other people in a group project. We have this idea that if there is difficulty that we've kind of failed or it's not so successful. For example, you're going to struggle with communication at some point. You're going to have to deal with overcoming obstacles, of overcoming disagreements. That's normal. That's okay. That's how it's supposed to work. I would highly recommend checking out these little, you want to read the whole chapter, but these little boxes have some really good information, such as critiquing. Like, how do you effectively critique a colleague's work? How do you do that? And so there's a lot of good information here that I think could really help. Connected to these concepts, not required, but connected, is this idea of emotional intelligence. And so we have two readings on emotional intelligence here. This is the one from New York Times. What I have noticed among students is that part of the reason why they don't like group work is because they lack the emotional intelligence. If we scan through this, part of emotional intelligence is being able to convey ideas to coworkers, being able to be in a team, and being able to deal with conflict. One of our requirements for this project is doing something called a team member evaluation form, and I'll explain this in a minute. But what you have to do is you have to evaluate your team members on all three projects that you guys do together. Both projects, let's say. You'll do your team member evaluation form twice. Anyway, I'll explain later. What I have noticed with students who maybe lack emotional intelligence is, for their team members, they just put 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, right? Which is possible. Maybe you have a perfectly functioning group, but you're going to have disagreements, and you're going to have team members who are good at some things and worse at others. You might be good at regularly attending meetings, but maybe you're not as good at listening to other members, and someone else is the exact opposite. Maybe they're not very good at attending meetings, but they're great at listening. Don't feel like if you give someone a 9, I'm going to email them and be like, guess what? Ajan gave you a 9. Like, it's all completely confidential on what you give your team members and what you evaluate yourself. You're going to have to evaluate yourself as well. So if we go back to this idea of emotional intelligence, I have found that certain students won't care about that, and they'll just do 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. And so I'd recommend actually looking at it honestly, like treating yourself and treating this class with honesty, and actually writing how things went. This can be helpful for me because then I can see if, let's say, one of the people in your group gets bad scores from everyone, then I know that person actually probably didn't do very good. And so in that case, I would probably email that student that didn't do very good. I wouldn't tell them what you said. I wouldn't tell them who said it, but I would simply say that that most of your team members have said this certain thing or have mentioned that you could, have mentioned that you could, sorry, I got distracted from that text. Yeah. Anyway, don't remember what I was saying. Emotional intelligence. All right. I'm not redoing this video. I've already redone this video twice. So I would recommend reading through those, being honest with your groups as to how effective they are or ineffective they are. Now, if you're in my class, you're going to likely see some kind of document like this under week 5, where you can see what groups you're in. I've put everyone into groups of 4. So we have 6 groups of 4. And so these are your groups. So what should you do at this point? Well, I would recommend setting up some kind of WhatsApp group, Telegram, or some kind of chat. You're going to want to be meeting with each other. And so that meeting time could happen through video meetings during our class time if you wanted, or anytime. It doesn't matter. My next video, I'm going to explain what our next assignment is, the technical instructions, and the worksheets that go along with it. But for now, I just kind of wanted to introduce this idea of group work and group projects and let you know that the next 3 assignments, technical instructions, usability, and revised technical instructions, are all going to be collaborative. That's 25% of your grade. And so you really want to your group to be effective, because a group project could actually produce better work. If you have 4 different brains working on one thing, then hopefully it'll be better. Okay. So stay tuned and make sure to check out the other videos where I dive into the technical instructions and the usability presentation. I'm also going to talk about group supplemental documents and how to submit the assignments and everything like that. And we're going to go into some details on that. All right.